Damian, buddy, how are you?
I'm good, Brian. How you doing, man?
I'm doing quite well. Thanks for taking our call.
Thanks for calling me. I appreciate it.
The one thing I want to mention just briefly to get it out of the way, you were part of the band Rogues Gallery. How did that come about?
That was actually back in the late 80s and early 90s, probably for maybe a 5-year period. We played locally across Newfoundland, and then we won a couple of contests, and we ended up getting tickets to Toronto, and then we ended up staying in Toronto, and we're based there for probably 4 or 5 years, and we traveled across Canada and did the whole thing and had some fun.
Then, of course, you went solo. Where did you always feel like you should, after they kind of split, was it a long decision to think maybe I should go solo, or did you just instantly think, I'm going to do this on my own?
Well, I had to sort of make an evolution in my career, I think, because I just didn't want to go back to the real world. I didn't want to get a real job. I wanted to continue playing music, so I evolved as a musician, as an entertainer, and began doing a lot of solo stuff, solo shows, and sort of tried to separate myself from the pack, if that makes any sense. I kind of from evolving as an entertainer, and I kind of just wanted to keep doing it. Didn't want to give it up.
How did it all come about in creating that first solo album? Like, where'd you get the connections to make it happen?
Well, I was just always writing, and I mean, in Rogues Gallery, people don't know this. A lot of my songs didn't get recorded in Rogues Gallery because we had a couple of writers who were writing a lot better stuff for the band. But a lot of my solo stuff didn't get recorded, so I mean, I always had it in the back burner. I borrowed money from some people back here in Newfoundland for my first couple of recordings, some demos, and then got some investors involved, and just kind of took it from there. There was always, each step was leading to the next step.
It seems like there's always one in the pack that kind of has songs in the back burner. Do you find that you kind of keep them just in case you ever want to go on your own, or maybe they don't fit the style of the band, so you're thinking, if I go on my own, at least I've got songs ready and prepared?
Yeah, I mean, in the band, I was never upset the fact that a lot of my songs weren't getting recorded, because I mean, the guys that wrote the songs were writing phenomenal stuff. I mean, and it suited the style we were doing. My stuff really didn't at that point, but I was the voice of the band, which was amazing, and I got to sing all these great songs, so that was all cool. But yeah, I always had stuff, I mean, kind of like, I was going to do solo stuff eventually, whether the band stayed together or not. I was going to go off on my own and do some stuff because I had material, and I've always written, so there was always material there, I think.
I know the song No Second Chances. I don't know it necessarily word for word, but I know it enough that it stays with you. I'm 25 now, but I remember I used to watch NTV when I was smaller, and I could almost time it to a T that when the Addams Family ended, and then there would be Inspector Gadget on around 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock. But in between that, NTV used to play songs instead of commercials. And I remember every time they used to play the No Second Chances, and I said, you know what? Maybe I was only maybe 5 or 6 at the time, but I really liked the song, and I said, if I ever do get the chance to interview this guy, I really want to bring that up to him. Yeah,
well, that's cool. A lot of people have mentioned that exact what you're talking about with the video. I mean, the song has over the years it's kind of taken on a life of its own. I mean, I've really milked it over the years because I've built my career around that and a few more songs. But that in particular with the video was on country music television for a couple of years in rotation, and on MTV, as you said, here locally. And I mean, it's kind of, I mean, some people have told me stories where the song has really changed their lives and, gotten them interested in music and things like that. Kids have come up to me, probably your age, Brian, and they've told me stories of how they were young kids and they saw the video and they heard the story of how, what I was doing, and it inspired them. So I think it's pretty cool to have that, as part of your musical legacy, I guess.
And where was it all shot to, and how'd you come up with that idea?
The video was shot up in Halifax, Nova Scotia. That was back, I guess, in the late 90s. The song was basically based on, homeless people on the streets and things like that. And, just the story of how, everybody has a story, and stories are not always as tragic as they look, and sometimes there's hope involved. And I just tried to write the song. The song is not about literally getting no second chances. It's about, make sure you take advantage of your chances, because there might not be a second chance to do something you really want to do. So, follow your dreams and That's kind of what it's about.
The shots that are taken in the song as well, and just the whole video aspect of it. Whose idea was it to do it in kind of the gray format?
That was, I guess, the director. The director's name was Charlie. I can't remember his last name. I guess it was 20 years ago when the video was shot. But it was up in Nova Scotia. Wharf Rat Productions was the company. Don't know if they're still on the go. Honestly, I have no idea. But it was their idea to shoot it in sort of that grayer, the old school kind of footage. And I think it really worked and gave the song legs.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's one thing that really that stood out for me, even when at a young age, because I mean, we had color TV, we had color, and then just to watch it, I mean, the message that sent along with just the style of the video all clashed together. But the one aspect I want to ask too is, because you grew up in Placentia,
yep.
Why did you choose Nova Scotia to film it and not here in Newfoundland?
Basically, the company that was paying for the video flew me to Nova Scotia and did the video up there. They wanted it done up there with Wharf Rat Productions, who were doing some good stuff at the time. They didn't really want to get it done here, and it wasn't my choice. I mean, honestly, I had nothing to do with that.
Okay, I got you.
Kind of like, here's where we're shooting, this is where you're going, here's your flight information.
I think it's the cool thing here about Newfoundland too, and I mean, it's helpful in a way that you're getting more exposure from Newfoundlanders, because it's no longer just a one-trick pony or people coming out. Because I remember when I was younger, it used to be, in order to succeed, you had to go out west or you had to go to Ontario. But guys like Rick Mercer, Johnny Harris, Anna Sisters, I'll put you in there as well, because as soon as someone told me about that video being a Newfoundlander, it was on NTV, but it was also on CMT. Yes, and CMT at the time was, you'd have like your Tim McGraws and your Garth Brooks, and I was like, no way, that's not possible. I'm like, a Newfoundlander made CMT, and they were just like, yeah, and that's, I guess, kind of clued into me that you don't necessarily have to move away from home to be successful.
I mean, Alan Doyle still lives here. He's one of the biggest exports we've got. He's killing it all over the world. And I mean, he's basically, like, he tells us he's never really wanted to move away, just wanted a career in music, and through hard work and dedication. I mean, whether you're a fan of the music or not, you got to respect what the guy has done. You've been doing the solo act since, I guess, the mid '90s. What's your latest projects? New CD was released latest CD was released last year. It was called Hey God. A bunch of new songs and some old tracks too, some classic tracks. Excuse me. But just working on that. I did a DVD with Record Time Productions' Rick Hollett and Jerry Boland from Jerry Boland Productions, videographer. That's my first traditional Newfoundland project. I wrote the songs. Jerry did the videography and Rick did the production. So it was a three-way project. We've got that released as well. So lots of fun stuff going on. And I mean, I'm writing constantly for Nashville, demoing stuff. I have a professional sound plugger working for me in Nashville. Chris Keaton, he's a solid guy. He believes in what we're doing, and he's trying to get a big old hit song for us.
Does it ever come to a point, and I mean, no disrespect in asking this, but does it ever come to a point that you just think, what's the point anymore? Or is it just that you like it, you'll do it, and then you just kind of hope for the best? Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think any of us set out in this business to make millions of dollars. I mean, if you're lucky enough to get the big breaks, you're going to make a lot of money. That's just the way the business is. It's a good paying job if you can do it well. But I mean, I've been fortunate enough to make a good living here at home. But with regards to Nashville, excuse me, I don't think I'll ever stop doing it. I mean, because I pay the guy, I'm not spending a fortune of money. I'm not breaking the bank. He knows that, realistically, we don't know what's going to happen. He believes in it too. So he's putting his goods on the line too, his talent on the line too. So we're just going to keep doing it, man. And you know what? We're in all of the camps down there. The songs are in the right places, but it's still a crapshoot. You don't know what's going to work. The songs that you're putting out, are they country based, or are they kind of like a folklore type? Or for Nashville, it's more of the country based. Some are kind of folk Americana, but a lot of stuff is country based for Nashville. And I mean, honestly, what's country music these days, Brian? Nobody can really put a finger on that. No, I mean that's fair. It's one of those things that if I ever have her on an interview, I'd be intrigued to kind of tell her the truth that everyone looks at Taylor Swift as if to say she's the big crossover from country to pop, but I'm looking at saying no, we did it before Taylor Swift. We had Shania Twain.
Totally. Oh my God.
Shania Twain was our big crossover. I mean, you listen to whose bed has your shoes been under, and I'm like, that's country, and then the next minute it was Up, and I was like, okay, that's a little bit more pop, but you're right, because even guys like Keith Urban, which is another one that I listen to, he started off country, but now every now and again it's a pop feel.
It totally is, and the concerts are rock concerts. I mean, there's lights and flames and explosions and smoke, and there's everything. It's loud guitars. They're rock concerts, man. It's rock music with a twang.
When you were growing up, what was music like when you were growing up? Who inspired you to kind of pick up a guitar?
Well, I mean, I was into Springsteen from a young age, Springsteen, Kiss, and all the classics in the 70s. But also here locally, the one for Grand Band, Glenn Simmons, Ron Hines, Sandy Morris, all those guys.
There you go.
I mean, once you realize, again, I didn't know that they were from here when I heard about them, and then when I went to see a couple of shows when I was in my teens, I was sneaking in clubs underage to watch those guys in St. John's, and seeing them and watching, and I mean, Tommy Sexton with the Wonderful Grand Band, Greg Malone, those two guys, the power of what they were doing, it was like, man, this is so cool, and it's amazing, and it's kind of they kind of paved the way for all of us, I mean, John Hutton, 12 gauge back in the 70s, some of the early recordings here in Newfoundland. But, yeah, man, all those guys, I mean, from Springsteen to Ron Hines and everything in between, for me, it's old school,
You got to have an inspiration somewhere. It's just kind of interesting to me that you mentioned about Kiss, for example, and Springsteen. Did you ever try to model, I guess, your playing style after them?
Man, I wanted to be Kiss. Listen, people will tell you this to this day when people come up to me and they see me performing, whether it's in a small place by myself or with a band at a concert, in a choir or an orchestra, whatever it is, they'll always tell me the same thing. You put off the show no matter if there's 2 people or 20,000. And I get that from Kiss years ago. It was like they always played, Gene Simmons used to always say, they always played Wembley. No matter when they started out at high schools back in New York to arenas, they were always playing big concerts. They always thought in their mind, like now I get up on stage now and it's like, you know what? I'm going to be the best show these people have seen in a long time, whether I'm by myself or with a band on stage. So that came from watching Kiss and knowing about their philosophy of like, every night, man, put out, deliver the best you can do.
It's interesting because some people in the industry I know, they just go on the stage and they'll pretty much be like, oh, if there's only like 5 or 10 people, I mean, I'm going to take it easy. Or if it's a sold out crowd, they play harder. But I always find it entertaining and encouraging when someone says, I don't know, I don't care how many are there. I do it for myself. I do it because I like it, and I do it to entertain as many people as there are there.
And plus, I mean, I want those 2 people. If there's 2 people in the club, I want them to walk away saying, that guy was friggin' awesome. That was unreal. I want them to say that. Listen, I might not be the best, but I want people to think I am the best.
Yeah, you want to get noticed, right? Because it's the way it is now, especially, it kind of helps, I guess, depending on who you are, but everything is spread through the word of mouth and social media. If I went to a show tonight and I seen you play, and I said, oh, this guy killed it, like, he was either the opening act or the main act, and I'd say, this guy killed it, it was great, and I tweet at it, and I say, like, hashtag Follett Music. Then someone else might say, I was at that concert, I totally agree with that, and then retweet it. And then what happens is it just gets retweeted, people see it, and then the next minute it's someone, it just falls in the right hands.
Yeah, things spread so fast these days, Brian. I mean, it's crazy how fast things get out there, So that's the thing. And look, the bottom line, too, you have to realize these days when you're performing, you might be in St. John's, Newfoundland, but the guy in the back can tweet that to his friend in New York City or Japan instantly. And he can say, this either sucks or this is really good and memorable. Listen, the only advice I give I give young musicians when they ask me for some advice, because I mean, I don't know what's going to be a hit song. I don't know how to write a hit song. I'm still trying to figure it out. You do your best you can, but I always say, show up, deliver, and be great. Don't just be good, man. Be great.
Yeah.
People will notice, and they'll appreciate you, and you'll have a career.
Yeah, and I think you can apply that for anything, right? Because
man,
it's
yes.
It's like if you want to be good at public speaking or good at, hockey or any sport or any musician, like just don't half-ass it. Kind of, you really got to go in and really try at it.
Yes, man. Even the greatest hockey player of all time, Wayne Gretzky, used to be the last one off the ice with the Oilers. Practice, practice, practice. Keep shooting. Just keep doing it, man. Like people ask me how I can play the guitar the way I play it. You know what? Play it for 20,000 hours. Just do it continuously, and even today, keep learning, keep getting better.
The final thing I want to mention too is, what do you think of the whole state of Newfoundland music and folklore in general? Because we've seen some great acts come out of Newfoundland in the past and present. We mentioned about Alan Doyle, the Ennis Sisters, and whatnot. But do you still think that there's more talent in Newfoundland that could be exposed?
Oh my God, that's such a loaded question, Brian. Listen, I've often said over the years, if we had an industry like there is in Nashville or in, I don't know, some other places maybe, but Nashville, I always think of Nashville, where they find the super talented and they push them to the max. Like, we just don't have that vision here with our music industry. I mean, the talent is all here, but over the years there's been so many things that have been overlooked because of, I call it lack of vision and absolute belief that we can take on the world and, basically get anything out that we can compete with anybody. It's funny. I just think there's so much more to be done, And I mean, for me, what I'm trying to do in Nashville has never been done. There's never been a Newfoundlander who's had a hit song on the Billboard charts in the United States of America. It's never been done. Not Ron Hines, not Alan Doyle. It's like, why not me?
Yeah,
Jimmy Rankin, I don't know if Jimmy Rankin mentioned a guy named Gordie Sampson in his interview, but Gordie Sampson is a prime example. He's from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. He has a Grammy in Nashville for songwriting.
Oh, wow.
So if Gordie Sampson can do it, why not Jimmy Rankin? Why not Alan Doyle? Why not Damian Follett?
That's a good
approach. Do it.
That's a good approach to have, right? Because if you go into the mentality of saying, "Oh, I didn't get it, I didn't do it," or "It's been so long and it's not going to happen," then of course it's not going to happen. Yeah,
man. And I mean, the fact is, again, it's a guessing game. Like, you put your songs out there, you pitch the songs. You pretty much have to pitch all of them, really, because you don't know what someone is going to like as an artist and want to record. So you just absolutely push it, man. Push it to the max, and someday it might just happen for you. Just find some believers. I mean, like, play the songs for people, and that doesn't mean your mom and your sister, because they're going to support you and love you. But I mean, get some honest opinions. Make friends with people. It's a relationship business. I mean, don't be an ass. Don't be a know-it-all. Make sure you're always learning and wanting to learn. Take the advice from people. You don't have to use all the advice, but take it all with respect, and just work your ass off, because it's a tough business, but it's a beautiful business too, man. It really is.
That's going to do it for this episode of Tobin Tonight. Our thanks to Damian Follett for coming on the show. Remember, you can find past, present, and future episodes on TobinTonight.com, Spotify, and iTunes. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and leave a comment or two. For Tobin and myself, this is Jacob saying, you may not get second chances in life, but let's say you do, don't blow them. Learn from the first and continue to grow. Thanks for listening, and good night.